Hey everybody, welcome back to the Deeply Graphic Design Cast. I'm your host, Nick Longo. I am creating this episode and this topic because it has just been too on topic with too many people I've been talking with. And we all know how difficult the job market's been, and I'm sure a lot of you who are dealing with this right now maybe have recently been laid off or are looking for a new job or have been unemployed for quite a while. A lot of times it's maybe a student who is still looking for their first job. I really wanted to kind of like dive deep into this idea of what's going on in the industry and how we can offer something here that would be of an advantage to you. And as I was thinking about LinkedIn and other tools that we can all use, obviously, what I was finding out from most of the people I was talking to was the idea that people were getting their jobs based on a referral or a connection or something in their network. And that's what I kept hearing over and over again. What I wasn't hearing was the person who applied for a job, got a callback, maybe a second callback, and a third, or whatever it might be, and then landed the job. What I was seeing was that was slowly becoming less often. And what I saw that was happening more were these awesome connections and kind of referrals, and maybe someone saying, hey, I've got a great recommendation for you. And it didn't come from the post or a job board. It came from that connection. And where do those connections truly work, and where do they really, really live? I'm a full believer that it's LinkedIn, number one, obviously, because it can be done in the comfort of your own home and in your office or at your desk or even on your phone. Whereas that's not the one and only thing, but it is that one area that you can control and you can be on every day and see if it can make a difference. So I wanted to kind of put this little presentation together, calling it Networking Your Way to the Next Creative Job, because I really believe that's the key here when it comes to what's next. So some of the discussion points we're going to be going over. Here's kind of an overview of the goals and the things that I hope we can do and explain a little bit more in detail. Number one, tips on how to reset your LinkedIn profile. Number two are some awesome networking ninja moves that I've been doing some research on to find out what's the latest and greatest that you could do on LinkedIn to help. Number three is better content. And number four is some homework, things that you can do to kind of make sure you're staying on top of your game when it comes to LinkedIn. It's all about thriving, not just surviving. LinkedIn is that game changer in this really tough time when it comes to the job market. I've been seeing so many people post on there about frustrations and, it's been how long or whatever it might be. And I think if we really restructure or rethink the way we land our next job, coming more through networking than through a job posting, we can truly do that. And the best way to do it is to really reset and look at your LinkedIn presence and make sure we can find a way to improve on it. Here's some simple facts. This is staggering. As of September 2024, U.S. job openings have fallen to 7.44 million, marking the lowest level since January 2021. So these job openings are just not happening. That's kind of a downside for sure, and probably a big reason why we're seeing a lot of these layoffs and a lot of people still searching for that job. Another fact, increased competition for graduate positions. Employers are now receiving an average of 140 applicants per graduate level role in a high record, indicating intensified competition among job seekers. So of all those people out there that are recent graduates, at least 140 are going after one particular job. And that's the low side. I mean, that's like an average. I've been hearing some go up to 1,000, if not more. So again, if you don't have a recommendation or someone has referred you or there's a LinkedIn or network connection to that hiring person, you are one of 1,000. And you might be the perfect person for it. But how do you ensure that that match or that connection or some intersection between you and that person happens? Again, I really believe there's something we can do here when it comes to how we do it on LinkedIn. 85% of jobs are filled through networking. That fact alone is why I wanted to make this video. 85% are filled through networking and some form of referral. 70% of jobs are never publicly advertised. 70. Again, that is so unbelievable when you think about that fact and the fact that it's happening and it wasn't even something that you could have applied for. Employee referrals account for 40% of hires. Now, that one seems a little bit low, but again, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that referrals alone, maybe not a recommendation or a true connection, but just a simple referral that you can vouch for somebody, that you want as many people as possible on your side when it comes to that. So your next job lives on LinkedIn, not in the listings, but through your connections. If you really think about that, try to change your perception that it's no longer a listing that you're going to find that's that perfect job for you. It's more someone seeing or knowing of an opportunity and instantly clicking and saying, I know exactly who that is. And you want to be that person 100%, right? Here's another reality check. Job listings are just the tip of the iceberg. Your real opportunity, it lives with the hidden job market, unlocked by your connections. So again, if someone can truly be that advocate for you and they know or work at a place where there is that job opportunity, they will go to you in a heartbeat before opening up the entire thing and going through interview process and all that. I am hearing that a lot of companies have to do that. So there's a certain point where they go, we have the person in mind through a referral or connection, but legally we have to put this job listing out there and go through the interview process. And I've heard of so many people going through 1, 2, 3 interviews and then just being totally ghosted. That has to have something to do with the fact that they probably had that person already in mind and they just went through the process of the hiring thing for HR or for legal reasons. Who knows? It's just sad to hear that that's actually happening. Okay, so part 1, we want to reset your LinkedIn. Here's what we're going to do. Resetting your LinkedIn starts with headline optimization. There's a beautiful formula that you can use to rewrite your headline, your thing right below your name. And the formula is simple. It's role, value you add, and then your niche. What specific specialty is all about you? Here's an example. Creative director, transforming brands through visual storytelling, motion graphics specialist. Again, role, creative director, added value, meaning transforming brands through visual storytelling, and then the niche in motion graphics specialists. What a cool way to kind of sum it all up there as well. You want to make sure as you're filling that in that you're using perfectly chosen keywords that align a role that you are seeking. It might be your degree, it might be you're at a senior level, it might be at a director level, or whatever it might be. Other keywords you can use are the specifics. Are you a brand specialist? Are you a UX UI person? Have you worked in entertainment for a long time? Those keywords are obviously going to be needed to drop in there as well. But just remember this formula: role, value you add, and niche. How you write it from that point on is truly up to you. Keeping it a little bit on the smaller side, I think this is a perfect example here of length when it comes to what to write for your headline. But take a look at what you currently have, and is this something you have? Great. If it's not, make that change now. Because again, this is your billboard. This is your headline that is the first thing they're going to read, and they will decide if they're going to move forward after this. Because right before this is your name, it is the first information they're getting from you as a potential candidate. Next thing you want to do in resetting your LinkedIn is to treat your profile as your pitch deck. And I think this came a few years ago for me when they started adding the multimedia into a lot of your work experience. And that's when I noticed my whole profile. And if you go through it, you will see that I have dropped in examples from any job of my history. And what I love about this is it allows you to, again, treat this entire feed, this profile of you, as a pitch deck. It is now a combination of both your portfolio, your resume, and key attributes about you as a person, right? So when you combine all that together, this is your pitch deck. You want to make sure you are using a professional and approachable photo in that profile picture, and your banner should be a bit custom to maybe reflect your style a little bit. One thing I always love to tell people is to maybe create a simple grid of your favorite work, maybe 3 or 4 examples of that. You already have your picture in the profile, so I wouldn't double it in the header. I would just make sure it is a really good kind of billboard of who you are and what kind of work you do, just so they get the idea. Because you can't please everybody looking at your particular role, and if you're the right person for the job they have opening. What you can do is tell them exactly who you are in that header. You also want to rewrite your about section as a narrative, meaning there's another formula here as well. You want passion plus key achievements plus a call to action. And this is your about section again. This is that area that is the first summary of you. And to show you a perfect example of how you will put this together, this is again an example of passion plus key achievements plus call to action. So the first part, passion. If you're watching this visually, hopefully you're seeing this and you get it right away. If you're listening to this, again, check out the video if you get a chance, both on Spotify or on YouTube. I'll read the first part, the passion. Design has always been my favorite way of telling stories, turning complex ideas into visual masterpieces and connecting with audiences. Okay, that's passion. I care. I love what I do, right? The next part is your key achievement. Over the past 6 years, I've had the privilege of designing campaigns that boosted engagement by 30% for top tier brands like brand A, brand B, whatever it might be. You can fill in the blanks. Whether it's creating impactful logos or dynamic motion graphics, I thrive on crafting designs that inspire action. Great. That's a fantastic key achievement there. It has numbers, it has metrics that said what you did, how did it move the needle. Number one thing I've heard from anybody when it comes to resume writing or you putting down what you've done at a company, don't just write, I design brochures for this company. You want to say, I've designed brochures that increased engagement or got more call to action or increased sales, or your process streamlined a certain thing that used to take 4 to 5 hours and now it only takes 30 minutes. Always remember your key achievements are benefit based. You have to make sure it's something that you did that was an advantage to the company you work for. That's all people want to see is, yes, you've got pretty designs and you've got an awesome looking kick-ass portfolio, but did you move the needle for someone? So always remember that. Last part is that call to action. I don't even think I have this part in mind. I think this is a really good way to end it. They ended in this example by saying, let's collaborate to bring your vision to life. Connect with me here or reach out at, and you can include your email or your preferred way of contact. Keep this in mind. Passion, key achievements, call to action. An incredible little solution to figure out as you're putting that summary together. Next up, what else you want to do to reset your LinkedIn? Show off your work in the featured section. This is where you can showcase 3 to 5 incredible standout projects that maybe you've just completed. Give a brief kind of impact focused description on these things. Again, try to throw in something that you did that it showed an advantage. Did it move the needle for that company that you did it for? Always remember that. An example here is you can say, I designed a campaign for blank brand leading to 20% boost in their engagement. Whatever it might be. If you don't have tangible metrics, you can always say it communicated better to their audience. It was more specifically geared towards their demographic. Try to find something that you did that made a benefit, and that's a great thing to do. So showcase that work. Don't let your LinkedIn profile be all text. It gives you beautiful ways to put in content and anything that's visual. You can put in a PDF, you can put in a slideshow, you can put in a movie, it could be a link to your portfolio, but truly try to make sure it's not just all text and it has enough content and multimedia in there for the person to really be engaged by what they're seeing. All right, part 2, how to become a network ninja. This is super cool. I was looking through a ton of resources to find out what are the ways that you can truly do something that's kind of not written in the playbook when it comes to LinkedIn. Target key connections. And what this means is try to identify 10 to 15 professionals. They might be in your desired field of expertise. They might be at your desired company, somewhere you really want to work for, or an industry that you want to work for. Any kind of interest that you have in mind, identify a few of those people. And it's not hard to find. I find these people quite organically through my just time on LinkedIn. I spend a good amount of time there each day, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. If you identify these people, follow them immediately. That's number one, right? Following is a quick way to do it. It's not a connection, right? Engage a few times with them. You might find they post something really intriguing. Post on their content, comment to them, like it, have a great word of wisdom or something in there as well. Tell them that really sparked something with me. I enjoyed that comment, whatever it might be, right? Oh, yeah, you made me think. Do that. And then by the time you've had a few conversations with them, now you can send that personalized connection request because, again, you're not a stranger anymore. You're that person that I've talked to a few times on LinkedIn, and that has given them some cachet to feel, oh, I know who this person is. Let's make that. And the best way to do it is you can say, hi, blank, whoever name it is. I always admired your work and all of the specific things. We've chatted a few times, maybe on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect and learn more about your creative process as a designer or a creative myself, right? So make it a little personable. That is a great opportunity on how you can meet a key individual. That key individual, now that you've made that connection, could truly be an advocate for you later down the road. You never know. I've built great relationships with people on LinkedIn that I've technically, it took years before we actually met. But once we have, there was such a auto kind of, advancement there that we're like, wow, I've known this person for a long time. It is a whole new way of making connections and furthering and blossoming your connectivity with all these people in your network. Second part of part 2, engage in groups and communities. Join a LinkedIn group somewhere related to your field. I've joined a ton in the packaging world. I've joined a few in branding. I've actually joined a few in like the consumer goods product area, which is technically not a graphic design or a branding specialized group, but guess what? I'm the only packaging designer in a lot of them. And all of a sudden, if one of those people that I have connected with in that group knows of a great opportunity, I'm top of mind because we have spent a little time together in that group. And even though it's someone I probably never even met, there's an instant kind of recognition and hopefully a good hope for a recommendation or an introduction to someone that might be a potential client for me in the future. So make sure you're doing that. Find groups that you really do want to connect with and make some hopeful, good networking connection. Also, don't forget in the background, you as a group kind of individual and you joining these groups increases what is considered your internal score with LinkedIn. The more you connect, the more you are a part of their platform, the better your chances of being found in search results or anything like that. It's a given that the more you are on this app, the better your internal score is and the better your chances, again, to get found in search results. So don't forget that part as well. Comment as meaningfully as you can on any discussions that you see in these groups or these communities. Make sure you are being visible. Make sure, that perception you can change pretty quickly. When you see someone on there and you wonder, is this person, a leader in this part of the industry or whatever it might be, what are you going to do? You're going to look at their credentials. You're going to look at how often do they post? Are they pretty active here on LinkedIn? And that perception is what you're looking at, and you'll base, your judgment off of that and what you see this person has done. So do the same thing. Be a person that contributes a lot, and that extra visibility is credibility. So keep that in mind as well. A cool thing you can say is, I recently tackled a similar challenge in my work. Here's how I approached it, right? I've noticed a lot of people will post something about maybe a particular hurdle or something they had in a project or in onboarding a client. Oh, that's like an open invitation for me to go in there and just chat with that person and make a quick connection. So it can happen that quickly. And then again, this person is an ally for you as you are looking for the job and hopefully can help you somewhere along the way in the future. Next up, in being a network ninja, leverage the power of your referrals. So you can use a second degree connection to request an introduction. So if there's someone truly targeted that you want to make that connection with, and there's no way in, they maybe don't have a follow, or they are a closed network and you don't have LinkedIn Premium, and you have a second degree connection, you can reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed you're connecting to blank. I'd appreciate an intro if possible. Here's why I'm interested. And give them just a quick little background as to why. So it's not something that you're fishing for something or it's some sales call, because there's a lot of that happening on LinkedIn all the time. So use these people to be the connection to the goal. Who's that one person that you think knowing or getting an introduction to can truly help you down the road? It might be a dream, company that you do want to work for. Next, on becoming a network ninja, you want to be proactive in your outreach. So have something drafted that you can cut and copy really quick. Draft a compelling message that is something you might use for a cold outreach to anybody. You can say something like, I'm exploring opportunities in blank, this field, and admire your work at blank, whatever company they're at. Would you be open to a quick chat about your experience? That's awesome, right? Like, imagine if you got that message. Of course you would want to reach out to that person, maybe help them out a little bit. That's such a really nice outreach. It's not asking for much. It's just saying, do you have time for that quick chat? I'd love to, pick your brain on where you're at, what role you have. I'd love to be in that situation one day. I mean, these are such really interesting and simple tools to really help your network grow. And again, gain another ally. Now we're on to part 3. How do you build better content on LinkedIn to expand and get that networking going? Here's an interesting one. I just found out about this. I tried one of them last year, and it was a really fun way to kind of explore new ways to kind of branch out. You want to host a micro event. And what this is you can use LinkedIn's audio events to discuss an industry trend or to showcase any of your expertise. You can do like top 5 creative trends for 2025 and just do a quick review on that. And it's all audio. It's really kind of cool. We actually did it. My friend Brad and I did one for in video, and it was really cool to try it out. We got to kind of make it as a destination. It was a meeting. It was an event, and we blasted it all over both of our socials, and we got so many people to join in, and it was a really fun thing to have a live engagement with people. It's going to look and kind of find its way into people that are good new connections for you, obviously, or peers of you, like someone that might be of your same status or kind of level in the industry. And again, it's just a way to gain more people and know you as a name, a face, a voice, all of that. Because if you can't do it live and time doesn't or budget doesn't allow you to go to trade shows all over the place, you want to make sure that you are finding some way to do this. So how do you do this? I've got a quick little 2-step thing here. You go to your LinkedIn homepage and click on Create an Event, and then you would select audio event as the event type. And if you want more information on that, just do a quick search on how to start a audio event on LinkedIn and you'll find out more about it. But I really challenge a lot of you to try this because, again, if you saw someone doing this and you came across one of these and you're like, what? How did this person do this? That's usually my first thought is like, why can't I do this? Guess what? You can, and it's like totally free. So why not try one of these things? Who knows what it could do to kind of cultivate more connections and to get your name out there a little bit more with people. All right. Next up on this, how to build better content. You want to amplify your visibility with creator mode. Now, this is something maybe a lot of you know, maybe some of you don't. I don't think I knew about this until I found it through some headline or something maybe on Instagram. But you're turning on what's known as creator mode, and this will help spotlight your content and increase profile visits. It's worked really good for me as well. I have a snapshot here. You can take a snapshot of this. I won't go over all of it, but here's how you would turn on creator mode on LinkedIn. It goes right to your profile. You locate the creator mode section, you activate it. It's going to ask you for maybe a few hashtags that are a little bit specific to you and what you represent, what kind of content you're going to make, and you will confirm that activation. But here's the benefits of it. What it will do is it kind of highlights your content, posts, articles, and videos, and it takes it at the top of your profile. And I have this little cool like turnstile that's on the top of my profile. and I can pin, or it will take my most recent stuff and put it up there. And this is making it so easy for recruiters or potential collaborators and any new connection to see your expertise and to see your work much faster. They're not gonna have to scroll down and see everything. It kind of almost like allows all that rich content to kind of move its way up to the top. And I started noticing this in the people I was looking at. And if I was looking at a profile, I could see their stuff because they had content creator mode on, and it rises to the top. So that's a really cool little trick to kind of make sure you're doing and seeing how that works. You never know. I think it can get more engagement because the chances of somebody seeing that are much greater now that you have creator mode on. So awesome. All right, part 4. Here is your homework. Here's what I want you guys to start thinking about of what to do. And your first thing is the daily 15-minute plan. You do have to contribute to this thing daily. I think, again, like I mentioned earlier, all you want to do is get that internal score with LinkedIn or your algorithm to be greater because of your commitment and how much you're contributing to the platform. So what you're going to do for 15 minutes every day, first 5 minutes, comment on 3 to 5 posts in your niche, right? It should be something in your niche of where you are in your creative industry. Comment on 3 to 5 posts. That's 5 minutes. Your second 5 minutes, send 2 to 3 personalized connection requests. There's no shortage of connections that you might want to connect to like help you in your career search and your next kind of job opportunity. So make sure you're doing that. You can have these personalized connections written already and copy and paste into them. Never just send the default connection request that LinkedIn provides. You always want to make sure it's personalized, and you mention the person's name and why making a connection to that person would be a great idea. So that's your second 5 minutes. And your last 5 minutes is to share or engage with a trending industry topic. There's no shortage of those things. It seems like every day there's something to comment on in our world and in our industry. And this is just allowing you to participate in the conversation, have an opinion, be cool about it. You know, I think there's no reason to kind of start anything here of like, you know, discourse. But I love the idea that just sharing or giving some engagement to something that's out there. It could be a news story. It could be someone that you are really trying to make a connection with, and you show up in their comments a lot. That's a really cool way to kind of make a subtle introduction to that person in the long term. So 5 minutes, comment on 3 to 5 posts. 5 minutes, send 2 to 3 personalized connection requests. And 5 minutes, share or engage in some industry topic or something happening in the feeds. Okay? So that's your first thing. That's your daily. So now I'm going to give you some weekly tasks. Each week, you want to publish a high quality post or article on LinkedIn. Year ago, maybe 8 months ago, I really started using ChatGPT to help me write better content for my posts. I would write something as if I was writing it, or how I used to write it, and I'd put it into ChatGPT and I'd say, hey, this is for LinkedIn. I want it to be more focused on the advantage I brought as the designer on this project to my client. You know, give it specific things. So for you, you're probably thinking, hey, I want someone to read this and go, whoa, this is the value you would get in working with me. And I'm going to prove it to you with this little post here and some content underneath it. Spend a little time on that. You're doing this weekly. Okay. So not a lot of time. Use ChatGPT, use something that can help create a more focused content as far as the copy goes, and then put together a really beautiful visual to go along with it. I have seen the engagement on this just skyrocket over the last 8 months. And I heard an interesting comment the other day that someone was saying all text posts on LinkedIn are doing quite well for people without even any visual. And we're going to talk about storytelling in a second, but I think that's one of the things that people are liking about when they spend time on LinkedIn as opposed to any other social media platform. I'm seeing more storytelling there, and I think that's what people want. So if you can, once a week, publish that really good post with great written copy and a beautiful high quality image on there, and you're golden. Next up, each week, Participate in at least 2 industry-related group discussions. This might be in a community or a group that you are part of. So make sure you're a part of those conversations and participate in at least 2 a week. It's a great number to kind of shoot for. And lastly, for the weekly tasks, follow up on any new connections or leads that you have created. I know many times I'll see a new connection and I'll say accept or whatever it might be. And I am always impressed with that person. Maybe a day later, a half a day later, whatever it might be, they'll send a really nice message saying, hey, thanks for the connection. I see we're both connected to this, this, and this. And there's really no ask. It's just the introduction. And you're like, that's solid. This seems like a good person to know. And then you check out their background and you wonder, what can we do mutually to help each other out? And I love that exists on LinkedIn. So each week, make sure you're not letting one of those opportunities slide. Make sure you're following up. There might have been a new connection and you didn't have a chance to kind of reply or do whatever. So make it a habit of each week to do that. Now, your monthly review. You want to go through and just review how's it looking? Look at some numbers. Analyze LinkedIn's metrics. You can look at profile views. You can look at your connection growth. And you can look at your engagement and see how those have been doing. I think when these numbers start going up and up, imagine this audience that you are now connected to is growing and getting greater and greater in size. Strength is in numbers with these people, you know, and the more you have and the more of these people you can convert to allies and ambassadors and folks that will endorse or refer you. I mean, I just hope that this could be the way into that new job for you rather than following every job lead 15 times a day. So you're probably doing that still, but wouldn't it be great to try these tips with LinkedIn and see if it can make some advantage for you? Here's a few bonus hacks. Okay. Reverse engineer a job description. So if you do see that perfect job description and it's yours, identify that dream job and extract the keywords. You can use tools like word clouds. It's at wordclouds.com. It's a great way to kind of extract keywords from copy. And you want to make sure when you do now have the outreach to that post or a person that might be connected to that post, make sure that your outreach aligns with these keywords and you're throwing in that into your profile. You're throwing it into maybe your post as well. Those keywords will be the kind of like little green lights that someone can see as they're scanning and go like, yeah, I want to see more of that. Perfect. This person's aligned with what we're looking for. All from keywords. That could be helpful because let's face it, we all scan through things if we don't have the time, but if a keyword or two pops out, that makes the connection for somebody. So that's a really cool hack to kind of consider. Another one is to engage with your target companies. Follow that company page. I tell my students this all the time. If they have a dream client or a dream company that they want to work for, follow them immediately, right? Make sure you're following them because guess what? Now anything they post will show up in your feed and that gives you an instant way to comment, to post, and to engage with their employees. And again, their employees are going to be those advocates for you in some way, shape, or form one day. What if a job opportunity does open up with that company and they're asking, do you know anyone at this company? Now you can say yes because you've had a few maybe engagements with people at that company, and your name's shown up on a lot of their posts and a lot of their new posts or whatever it might be for news and stuff that they're posting. Make sure you're doing that. That would be a fantastic way in. Next is to respond thoroughly to hiring announcements to get noticed. You can always say like, I've followed your company for the last year. I love seeing the posts you do, specifically that one initiative that you posted last year. I thought that was great. Now you're not just one of the people putting in the request or the job applicant. You have some connection to them in some way, shape, or form. And I also heard that you're more likely to be found in search results when the company itself goes searching on LinkedIn for a really good candidate. And if you match with them and you follow them, you're going to be higher up in those search results. So that's a great thing to consider as well. You want to also tap into informational interviews. And I think my students encourage them to do this all the time. Ask for that 20-minute virtual coffee chat to learn more about someone's role or a company they work for. If there's someone desirable that you want to reach out to that has the dream job you want or works at the company that you'd love to work at, do a quick outreach to them. Say, are you available for one of those things? I know a lot of people do this, and particularly professionals love hearing this as well. When they get this call or they get this kind of request, it's a really nice kind of way of outreach from somebody, and people want to give back. I think that's a great thing to kind of look forward to. So make sure you're reaching out. If it's virtually, great. If it could be in person, awesome. Try that out. Build rapport, and then you can obviously inquire about any kind of potential opening. You don't want to like meet with them and first question is, are there any openings at your company? That's not the way to approach it. You want to set kind of a really good foundation with them, ask those informative questions, and then once you've built enough rapport with them, then you can inquire about any potential job openings or referral down the road, which would be awesome. Wouldn't that be great too? This is someone you've never worked with. You might make a connection with them. You can continue on with a fairly good kind of engagement with them on LinkedIn. And amazingly enough, that person can even be a referral for you for a job down the road. Oh, I've known this person for years. They're so engaged in the industry. They've reached out to me many times to know more about my job and the industry's trends or whatever it might be. Again, another great person to have on your side. As 2025 approaches, which is so hard to believe, we're just a few days away from this. Here are some of the things that are really hot with LinkedIn right now in 2025. You want to embrace short form video content. I've been seeing a lot of this. And in fact, I believe their whole mobile structure of the platform has changed to adapt to portrait, TikTok, Instagram Reel, 16:9 portrait orientation. And I've seen a lot in my feed, and I'm thinking, wow, man, LinkedIn's pushing that. You could tell. So with this rise in it, sharing all these different concise little engaging contents that can showcase, maybe it's your creative skills or something unique that you can do, could that attract a potential employer? Maybe, right? Visual and video content is obviously being pushed more on all these different programs between YouTube, LinkedIn, now, obviously with Instagram and TikTok. But to see it happening on LinkedIn is pretty amazing. This format can allow you to really demonstrate anything, right? Your expertise, anything that you do that shows off your personal style or whatever it might be, your process. Throw it in there. You have nothing to lose, right? Try it there. I think a lot of times people are like, I would never do that on Instagram. It's my family, it's my friends, whatever. Try it on LinkedIn. You have nothing to lose, right? These people can truly find you based on what you did and kind of like your personality as well, because that's a big part of who they're hiring as well. So keep that in mind. You also want to leverage personal branding and storytelling. Personal branding, I'm sure you guys all have pretty decent kind of you've laid it out. You put together your personal branding. And obviously, I mean by graphics or a logo or whatever colors that you use in your thing. But in this case, I'm talking personal branding more as storytelling. Are you authentic? Are you showing things that tell a story in your post on LinkedIn? So imagine if it's something unique about a professional journey that you've been on or a challenge, a hurdle that you went through. It also could be a success story. It could be something that you can celebrate, a project or something that happened or something that finally made it out to the marketplace or whatever it might be. That's fantastic. Tell a little story about it. It's a way you can build something really memorable, and it will resonate with anybody who sees it. I think, think about what you see and what you bookmark or what you register with and what resonates with you. Do the same thing. Build it. Put it out there and see what the LinkedIn community will do. So some personal strategies, some things you can do for yourself as you're going through this process and hopefully increasing your chances on the LinkedIn side, increase it personally as well. You can set small, achievable goals daily. Try to break those goals down, into smaller chunks. Like landing a job. I mean, don't just think of it as this one big goal. Break it into smaller, manageable tasks. And this is one of them. Increasing your odds and improving your LinkedIn presence is a huge step, but take it in smaller steps. Number 2, invest in some self-development. I know so many friends, and I love seeing them post this on LinkedIn as well, are using their downtime to upskill or do something unique with an online course or a workshop or a certificate. Those are great ways to build up a little bit of, extra stuff that you can blast all over LinkedIn. But truly, what it's doing is it's making you feel like at least I'm doing something with this time and I'm being productive, right? And last but not least is to build a supportive routine. And that's everything from scheduling time for exercise, whatever it might be, anything that's health and wellness, a hobby, something you need to do for mindfulness, whatever it is, finding a way to support yourself through this process and giving you that time to, take care of yourself, because I know how hard it is. I'm in daily contact with so many people that are struggling with this current kind of like job market, incredible crush. So I hope that's been helpful for you guys. Some conclusion notes here. Networking is the engine. LinkedIn is the vehicle. Think of it that way, right? Together, hopefully some of those doors will open and it will help you kind of find that next step. And starting today, refresh your profile, engage authentically with anyone you meet, and build that meaningful connection. Keep that in mind as you are spending time on LinkedIn, because I'm telling you, those hidden jobs are there for you to uncover if you do it in the new way, which is building a strong network and a strong community of people that will help you get that job through referral, connection, or recommendation. So guys, I hope this has been helpful. If you have any tips or extra questions or something that's happened that kind of helped you get through this process, please be sure to share it on any of the notes through YouTube, Spotify, or on Instagram, where we post for this as well. And if there's any resources or anything like that, we'd love to hear it. If there's extra questions or things that maybe I didn't cover on here as well, I'd love to hear more about that from you guys as well. This might be our last one for the year, so I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday as well. And thanks so much for a fantastic year with the podcast. We're doing our best to keep things up and keep it weekly. So I hope you guys appreciate that. Please feel free to share this with anybody. Give it a like on whatever you're watching. It truly does help out the podcast in the future. All right, guys, take care. Good luck, and we'll see you soon. Bye.